Thank you. Thanks, Uncle Kwan. And thanks, Gilbert, one more time for inviting me. I think I'm going to give a short speech. And I believe that in the later part, whereby there will be more speakers talking about more issues that actually concern Singaporeans. It is during every National Day that we would look back with pride and look forward with anticipation. PM Lee's NDP speech talk about the success factors that have helped make Singaporeans' unemployment rate stay at 2.1%, while GDP rate is 4.9% in the first half of the year. In my opinion, it is not these numbers that we should be proud of for our last year's achievement. The key achievement is that as a nation, many more Singaporeans are interested in Singapore politics, are interested in nation building, and dare to challenge the status quo. Singapore is never about a specific group of talents or individuals. It is never about whether we have the monetary resource. Money cannot solve all the problems. It is clear that paying $1 million did not solve our housing, transportation, and immigration issues. It is and has always been about getting the right people who have the right spirit that will solve these problems. Above all, it is about a spirit of willingness to change and improve and challenge norms. When we need to defend ourselves after independence, we built an army by a minister who was never a soldier. When we needed to attract foreign investments, we started EDB. Similarly, many locals have successfully excelled in the private sectors by helming leadership in MNCs to creating successful enterprises. It is, as has always been, about entrepreneurship, about challenging the norm and pushing the boundaries. This is what I call the Singapore spirit. Our country, Singapura, Lion City. The Singapore spirit is akin to the word lion, fearless, righteous, and brave. For me, during this National Day, the Singapore spirit is rekindled, relighted. We spoke up against the following, and the press carried them promptly. These issues include Woodlands, HDB water tanks, DBSS developments in Tampines. Ministries should know by now that they could no longer leave people's issues and concerns to the writings by public relations and communications officer. We as Singaporeans write into the ministry not to look for a reply from these officers. Let me cite the recent responses to the issues highlighted by Singaporeans. On the issue of transport price hike, Minister of Transport stepped forward and fronted the issue. He communicated directly to the people of Singapore. On the issue of Dr. Patrick Tan, son of Dr. Tony Tan, presidential hopeful, MINDEF decided to put forth a reply and defended the decision. In fact, it raised many more questions than the answers provided. There was no minister who fronted the issue. Instead, the explaining was done by an officer whose job is on public relations and communications. Singaporeans must demand for actions by ministers and MPs if their concerns are not acted upon. We elected the ministers and MPs to address our concerns, not the public relations officers and not the communications officers. Looking ahead, there are numerous challenges that Singaporeans are facing. Certainly some of these issues to be highlighted cannot wait till 10 October parliamentary session. And I hope the PM speech on Sunday will cover some of them. Number 1, salary review for public office holders. It will set the tone for the type of leadership Singapore wants. It will also affect the trust and unity between the leadership and the people that we need for nation building. Number 2, the issue of underemployment, especially for those 40 and above. We need a comprehensive study on this, and we need to seek ways to address this issue. The final issue is the challenge of the next financial crisis. It could possibly be one where cost of living will remain high, sandwiched by a higher unemployment rate. I will also urge the government to set up a Ministry of Entrepreneurship, Creativity and Innovation, because our future must be driven by value proposition and creation, from products to services to even creating new industries. We need that badly as our next engine of growth. Finally, like how we have found our new freedom when we leave Malaysia and build a better future, we should embrace this opportunity with hope. We should rekindle the Singapore spirit and set it ablaze once more. This 46th National Day, 20 years later from today, will be a very special one. It will be one that signifies a willingness to embrace change, when our country will move away from what we see today, big government and a small society, to one where the government and its people work in partnership to build a nation that will take and create better opportunities for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Tony Tan, a very concerned young man. With more people like him, I think Singapore will have hope, right? Now, Tony Tan touched briefly on unemployment in Singapore. As you know, the government recently revised the unemployment figure to 2.1%, which is, well, among the lowest in the world. But how did they arrive at this 2.1%? Do you know? How did they arrive at this figure of 2.1%? Do you know? If you know, you raise your hand. You don't know, right? How did they arrive? How come there's only 2.1% unemployed in Singapore? The criteria is this, let me tell you. You must register with the CDC as unemployed, the Community Development Council. Then you will be considered as unemployed. If you are not registered with them, sorry, in the government eyes, you are therefore employed. How many of you are registered with the CDC? No, therefore, yeah, where got time? And what for? What for? The CDC would register you for some work study or skills improvement. All right. Once you are registered with some courses which they throw you at, you are considered employed. You are taken off the list. So therefore, when you register with them, they put you up to attend some courses somewhere. All right, and your name, and you automatically become employed. So therefore, Singapore has very low unemployment, very, very low, by their own twist of statistics. All right, let's not waste time. I will call upon our next speaker, Mr. Jason Lee. Mr. Lee. He's not here. Oh, Mr. Kamaran. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Our next speaker, my good friend Gilbert tells me, is Mr. Kumaran Pillai. Mr. Kumaran Pillai is an entrepreneur. He has graduated with honors from the University of Queensland. He is the winner of the International Itanium Solutions Award. Now, what is Itanium? I did a quick check before I came, and apparently it is a material used in microprocessors. All right. So he is a microprocessor specialist, and he is also currently sitting on the board of the International Panel of Judges for the Itanium Alliance. So there you are, Mr. Kumaran Pillai, please.